Hey everyone, and welcome to a brand new video right here on the GAAP Advisors Ind AS Clinic YouTube channel. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you tuning in today. If you're someone who loves unraveling complex accounting puzzles, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're decoding a massive issue regarding Ind AS 16 and tackling what I like to call the depreciation dilemma. We're going to systematically break down the facts, the rules, and of course, the final verdict. Right off the bat, before we open up today's case file, let's just lay down some quick ground rules so we're all looking at things through the exact same lens. First up, our timeline. We're operating on a standard Indian financial year, meaning our reporting period kicks off on April 1st and wraps up on March 31st. Just keep that context in mind as we analyze things today.
Okay, and next, let's talk currency. For this explainer, our functional and presentation currency is the Indian rupee, good old INR. So just keep in mind that any other currency we might stumble across in a company's ledgers, that is strictly classified as foreign currency. Simple enough, right?
Now you might be wondering, why should I care about all these technical standards? Well, if you are a person investing your hard-earned money in the shares of listed companies, you absolutely must understand these applicable accounting standards. It's genuinely the only way to read the financial health of a company accurately and protect yourself from misleading figures. But real quick, a quick heads up. The views expressed in this video are the personal views of the author, and they are not legally binding on the audience. Always seek the help of a qualified expert before you take any action or hold off on any action based on what we're discussing today. Okay, disclaimer out of the way. Here is our quick roadmap for today. We are going to hit 1. The case source, 2. The depreciation dilemma, 3. Decoding IAS 16 rules, 4. The compliance verdict, and 5. Your GAAP Advisors Toolkit. Let's dive in. Section 1. The case source, where the data lives. So, where are we getting this fascinating puzzle? Well, this specific issue is actually featured in the 202nd edition of the GAAP Advisors Task Weekly newsletter. That's authored by C.A. Manish C. Iyer, Director of GAAP Advisors, and published right on LinkedIn. Actually, they've published over 230 editions so far, so if you're registered on LinkedIn, definitely go subscribe to that newsletter for free. But the core issue itself comes from the massive repository over at gapadvisors.com. Guys, this site hosts over 4,500 issues and responses on Indian accounting standards and Indian GAAP. Anyone can register for free, submit an issue, and get a detailed response delivered directly to their email inbox. It is an absolute game changer, particularly for auditors who need to formally document exactly how they addressed any issue relating to the application of Ind AS.
Moving right along to Section 2, the depreciation dilemma, the incident.
All right, let's set the scene. We have a specific company, and we're looking at their financial reporting. In their accounting policy for property, plant, and equipment, they drop this little nugget. They explicitly state that they cease depreciating an item the exact moment it's retired from active use and held for disposal. Now, I know what you're thinking. On the surface, that sounds somewhat logical, doesn't it? If a machine is just sitting there and you aren't actively using it, why would you keep depreciating it?
But hold on a second, because that brings us to the ultimate cliffhanger for any auditor, finance professional, or savvy investor looking at these books. When does that depreciation clock actually legally stop ticking under the standards? Does simply retiring an asset from active use magically flip the switch?
Section 3. Decoding Ind AS 16 rules. The law.
To get to the absolute bottom of this, we need to crack open the rulebook. Let's look directly at paragraph 55 of Ind AS 16. It states very clearly that depreciation of an asset ceases at the earlier of two specific dates, either the date the asset is classified as held for sale in accordance with Ind AS 105, or the date that the asset is entirely derecognized. Notice anything missing there? Yeah, it says absolutely nothing, literally zero, about an asset simply being retired from active use.
This slide right here really hits the nail on the head. Look at side A. You've got the company's policy, where they're just pausing depreciation because an asset is idle or retired. But then look at side B, the actual Ind AS 16 mandate. It explicitly clarifies that depreciation does not cease when an asset becomes idle or is retired from active use, unless that asset is already fully depreciated. You know, you can't just pause the accounting rules just because a piece of equipment is sitting in a warehouse gathering dust.
Which brings us to Section 4, the compliance verdict, breaking down the error.
If you needed a smoking gun to seal the evidence against this company, well, here it is in paragraph 79C of Ind AS 16. This paragraph actually encourages companies to disclose the carrying amount of assets that are retired from active use, but, and this is a huge but, are not classified as held for sale under Ind AS 105. Think about the logic there for a second. This absolutely proves without a shadow of a doubt that just because you retire an asset from active use, it does not automatically mean it's classified as held for sale. They are two completely different things in the eyes of the law.
And honestly, it gets even worse. Let's play devil's advocate. Even if the asset genuinely was classified as held for sale, the measurement rules change the whole shebang. It must be measured at the lower of its carrying amount or its fair value less costs to sell. It is absolutely not simply measured at net realizable value. So no matter how you slice it, this company's policy is totally flawed. The final verdict? They have flat out failed to comply with Ind AS 16.
Section 5. Your GAAP Advisor's Toolkit. Next steps.
All right, so you've seen just how tricky this can be. To make sure you've got the absolute best tools in your arsenal going forward, I want you to do a few things. First, dive a little deeper. Connect to the GAAP Advisor's Ind AS Clinic podcast. You can find that on Spotify, Amazon, or YouTube for a really fantastic deep dive into the exact issue we just tackled. Next, make sure you follow the GAAP Advisor's Ind AS Clinic channel on WhatsApp. That way you get instant updates on all our videos, podcasts, newsletters, new standards issued, and new issues responded to. And lastly, if you are sitting there with your own complex Ind AS or IFRS hurdles, you can actually book a one-on-one consultation directly with the author through his topmate.io page.
Well, that is a wrap for today. Thank you so much for your time. If you found this explainer helpful, please do us a massive favor. Hit that like button, add your thoughts in the comments, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the GAAP Advisor's Ind AS Clinic YouTube channel. We also really request that you share this video among your contacts, colleagues, audit and finance teams, and especially students pursuing their CA course. It is all about spreading the knowledge of Indian accounting standards. Until next time, take a good hard look at this final question. What hidden idle assets are currently putting your own audit compliance at risk? Think about it. See you in the next one.